Perfect.
Right, let's play some Burning Wheel. So, that's like the third time I've started a recording there, because each time you guys said something either offensive or just too random to start on. Everyone was just like, no, that's not going to work, restart. So yeah, we've not got any cameras, but I do like your pictures. And yeah, so before we start, so you'll have to give me a minute because this is my first game of Burning Wheel. I know, Tim, you've played a bit, so
yeah,
keep me right if I
free campaigns.
Free campaign? Oh, not bad. That's a lot more than.
Yeah, I mean, one of them was very short, but two of them lasted a while.
Cool. So yeah, keep me right if I go wildly off course. I don't know. I might play. I'm going to try and stick pretty close to the rules, but there's a couple of things I've noticed from watching that I might change a little bit. Not major things. But I might be a little more inclined to let people use skills that aren't always directly represented, if it makes sense in the narrative. But I'm going to try and stick mostly pretty close to the rule book. Because I know that Adam and Josh haven't had a chance to fully read over it yet, so I want to give us a chance to kind of ease into it. So first thing we do in Burning Wheel, as I understand it, is we need to talk about our characters' beliefs and our instincts and our traits. That's the very first thing, isn't it, Tim?
And yeah. And I guess like we created characters together, but because we're recording this, it's probably like good to kind of give a heads up about like what are the life paths, what are our characters good at, stuff like
Plus, we created the characters like 3 weeks ago, so it'd probably be a good idea to like remind everyone. It took me a wee while to move house and get everything in position.
Yeah, I definitely agree there, because before you were saying, oh yeah, a no-man would be good for this and that, and I was like, who the fuck's no-man? It's like, you're no-man.
You're no-man, that's your character, that's your name.
Well, what's this?
Well, actually, I had you down as...
Man, Adam.
I had you down as no name, so I could have looked up there too. But yeah, we'll start on beliefs, and I'll start with Gregory, Samuel's character. Wait, what am I saying? I already messed up there. We'll start with Tim.
Josh's character.
We'll start with Tim, who is being played by.
Sure.
We'll start with Tim, who is playing
Josh
Gregory.
Play me like a fiddle.
I mean,
We'll
every
start with
Saturday night.
Gregory, who is played by Tim. Because I believe what you wanted to say.
That is what I wanted to say before I completely tripped over myself. So
I believe when I believe when I first wrote down this character concept, I literally just wrote down, I'm too old for this shit. So yeah, my character is a bit on the old side. He's 34. He's a 5 life path character because I really wanted to be military captain, and there's really no way to reach that with 4 life paths.
Yeah.
So my life paths are city-born, page, squire, knight, captain. So it's a character who kind of like came from the equivalent of a middle class in like the Middle Ages, which is kind of still just a lower class. But he's very tall, very broad, kind of inspired by characters like the Hound or the Mountain in Game of Thrones. And he excelled at fighting, became a page, a squire, then a knight. And then once the Crusades happened, he was called into service and served as a military captain. And he accrued some reputation from that.
Yes, you got a reputation as the butcher of somewhere. Was that a butcher during the Crusade, or was that back home?
Yes, that's during the Crusade. I have a 2D, so like a fairly major reputation, as the Butcher of Mutiamu, which is a location. And I'm sure we can talk about what happened there in game, because I don't know, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have a 1D affiliation with the Order of the Silver Gauntlet, which is basically the military part of the military command that I was part of. And then because I am a knight and I have a sword homage, I have a 1D affiliation with the nobility, which brings me to my traits, which is I have die traits. I have sword homage, which means that I have sword fealty to someone else, which will be Josh's character. And I believe it's described as he promises fealty to his lord, to guard his land and fight in wars with armor, horse, and sword, to manage his land in good stead, to collect and pay taxes, and generally to obey the law and uphold the peace. So yeah, that's the thing I have to do. My other die trait is cold-blooded, which I believe gives me Some bonuses on certain steel tests, because I've seen some shit. I have 2 call-on traits, which is Savvy, which is something I get from being a captain, and I can use that for circus tests, because I know people and I've been around. And I have a call-on trait on Booming Voice, which I believe I can use for command and oratory, or intimidation. I think there's like 2 of those 3. I'm not sure which they are. I'll look it up.
So for Josh and Adam,
yes.
So you know what traits do? Call-on traits. Call-on traits. If you tie with somebody, like if you're rolling against somebody and you tie against them, so you can use a call-on trait to break the tie in your favor. Isn't that's how it works, isn't it,
Yes,
Tim?
yes. Yeah. And alternatively, once per session, you can re-roll and fail tests.
How do you get call-on traits then? Because at the moment I've got bugger all.
Well,
there's a chance some of your traits might be call-on traits. We might have not picked it up. We can have a look into that later on.
And then something else to keep in mind: you can always use a trait to break a tie in your opponent's favor, which usually means that you'll get a fate point for it at the end of the session, because one of your traits hindered you. And my character traits are Cynical, Mark of the Beast, and Fear of the Supernatural, which I'm sure will interact very interesting ways. My beliefs are: my lord is the ruler of this land. I will follow his command to the best of my ability. The people under my command are my responsibility. Darius has been talking behind the others' backs. I will shut him up. And those threatening the safety of our civilians must be cut down swiftly and diligently. And then my instincts are: always refuse help when asked if I need it. Always draw my axe at the slightest sign of hostility. And when confronted by matters of morality, I defer to those in charge of me.
Great, those are some good traits. Beliefs-wise, I like the second one. You've definitely given yourself a good objective there.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, my lord is the ruler of these lands and will follow his commands to the best of my ability.
I'll probably, I will change that as soon as, my lord gives me an order, and then I'll actually attach a goal to that, but, I'll probably fill that in during the session.
Yeah, so for now it would just be a fate
one.
Yeah, we'll just consider a fate one for now. If you manage to, gives you an order, you go for it. Those who threaten the safety of civilians will be cut. Again, you'll just get fate for that one for the...
Well, you can fill in beliefs during a session.
Yeah, obviously, they can change. So if you,
I don't know a lot of PCs and NPCs yet, so I'll probably fill those in during the session.
Cool, that's fine. But yeah, no, they're good. I do like those who threaten the safety of civilians must be cut down swiftly and diligently, because that's just going to jump you into action pretty quickly.
Yes.
And which is nice. Keeps the story going with lots of catalysts.
Also, the things my character is really good at is axing people, commanding people, hunting, intimidating people, and I'm pretty decent. Because I'm a 5 life path character with pretty good life paths, I'm pretty decent at a lot of stuff. I tried not to make him too overpowered. I chose certain stuff that I wanted to have, but then only gave myself the minimum amount of points in them, because I don't want to succeed at everything, because that's not burning good isn't fun.
I mean, you've got a 6 in axes, so you are 5 in command and stuff.
Very good at. I also, with my resources, I forgot to say this. I bought a sweet axe, which is a fine weapon, weapon of fine quality. So I have a very, very impressive axe. If people have watched Game of Thrones, basically the equivalent of a Valyrian steel axe.
So we'll have to talk maybe about how that axe became fine, because I think that's...
it didn't become fine. I mean, it was finely crafted for someone of the opposing army, and I took it from them.
I'm thinking, you're the butcher of this place, yeah? It's possible that, because we talked for a moment about
I don't think it's this place. I think Mutkan is a place in this country, and there was a big battle there.
Yeah.
And,
well, there's actually only been a couple of battles in the Crusade. It was a very short but violent crusade.
Yeah.
But there was a city that got attacked and really ruined. So we can maybe name that place Mushan. And I was thinking perhaps your axe was effectively... Well, I suppose that I was going to say anointed in blood of heretics would be an idea, but that would actually be for a magical weapon.
I mean, it's not magic. Yeah. It's just a
very nice axe.
Crafted axe. Yeah. And
maybe it was
I took it from someone who died.
Yeah, you ripped it out. It's an axe of like one of the actual people.
Yeah, it's like a two-handed axe. It looks very distinctly foreign to like in comparison to like the armor I wear.
Yeah.
Because we kind of talked about this, like the place we invaded is more like inspired by like Chinese culture, while the place we come from is a little more European in tendency. Yeah. So I'm wearing like some like heavy mail armor. Usually, or when I'm in town, I just wear my gambeson. I have like some throwing axes and stuff on my back, and they're just like, they look like, you know, Western axes. Yeah. While this sweet axe, this giant thing, it's like very intricately designed. It's probably worth a lot of money.
Yeah,
it looks kind of like Asian looking.
Yeah, it's worth saying like part of the reason the Crusade was so successful was because they don't have as much metal in this. Like, it's a bigger country than the one you're from, but they don't wear armor the same way we do. They actually, a lot of people still use bronze weaponry, so you were technologically superior. But I guess this was an artisan weapon. Like, what steel they did have, they made this one very fine weapon out of.
Yeah.
And you took it off their commander.
Maybe it's not made of steel. Like, maybe it's not made of bronze, but maybe it's like made of some different metal that is like that they had, but they had very little of in this country.
Yeah.
So they have like some weapons that are like surpassing.
When they do have metal, they put a lot of work into crafting a nice weapon because they're not going to get that many.
It's like only the very richest of the rich would have like steel weapons, and they would only give them to their best warriors.
Yeah. Whereas you guys came across with iron armor, and you know, just everybody had some nice steel weapons, and they had spears, effectively a lot of them, with which didn't do much against your breastplates. Cool. So that's Gregory Lightbringer, tough old bastard who's made himself a reputation killing his way through the Crusades. Josh, what's your character's name? Because it's a mouthful.
My character. My name is Samuel Coldfield Van William Addleston III. You vagabond, you. Cool.
So Sammy, tell me a little bit about Sammy. Tell me about, in particular, like maybe his beliefs. Let's get started on his beliefs. Yeah, because that's the core of your character, is what your character believes in.
Yes. My character is also a 5-path character that has a page. I believe I can find my paths real quickly. Yes, I was a born noble, page, squire, lord, and quartermaster, where I was in the Crusades as well. I'm lord of the current area that we're in. Very studious, very snobbish, very hoity-toity in times of privileged. In terms of like character traits and things like that, alcoholic, with lordship, light sleeper, mark of privilege, pragmatic, dire traits. It's mark of privilege again, which I think I might have doubled up on, and light sleeper. But I think this comes in
those are definitely both die traits. Okay. Cool. So I'm guessing maybe you didn't get round to writing beliefs before?
Because I think we're doing the characters. I don't think we were doing it.
Yeah, that's fine. We can write some now, which gives me a chance to kind of explain them. So how your beliefs works? Beliefs, as I said, before, they're how you get fate and persona, the kind of currency that lets you re-roll and open up dice and stuff to give you a better chance of succeeding greater things. They're also the center of your character, and what will help me sort of define what happens around you in the world and what pushes the sort of story. How beliefs are supposed to be said, it's a statement about something your character believes. So that could be, the king is evil and must be brought down. And then the second part is what you intend to do about it, which Tim was struggling a bit with his ones for the first one because it's the first session. We don't entirely know what's going on around us yet, so it's hard to put those statements in. So you don't have to do those too strictly this time. But yeah, so in the case of the king example, the king is evil, and we must do whatever it takes to kill him. If you wrote, I will kill the king, that's a big quest you've given yourself. Every time you work towards killing the king, you would get a fate point, and if you killed the king, you'd get a persona point. Or you could make it a little simpler for yourself. The king must be defeated. I will bring over one of his courtiers to my side. An easier task to do. You can maybe achieve that in a session. If you brought the courtier over to your side, you would get a persona point. So it's kind of like setting yourself quests based on what your character feels and believes about the world. So for a hoity-toity nobleman who's going to be visiting his this story is going to start with you actually going to your newly acquired lands that have been gifted to you. So it could be, I will find I will not survive in this new land without the aid of the populace. I will find an ally amongst the small folk to convince them of my benevolence. Or it could be, these people must be led by fear and stamped down upon. I will make an example of the first person who stands up to me.
Okay. Just in regards to us going out for the first time, I have my relationships. One is a personal guard, but one is also the local lord's native daughter, like from this land.
Oh, okay. All right. So I didn't know about that. Ooh.
Yeah,
so,
I'll put it in when
I see it there. Yeah, I didn't see that one. Okay. So, you are now the local lord. You are in charge. So you're boning your own daughter. No.
No, because I know we have our own section that we kind of have, and I'm lord over, and like if it was like the local native lord's daughter, so like the next area over that would be dealing.
Oh, so you mean like the neighboring, your neighboring lord? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's fine.
That was like the complicated one, I think.
Yeah. No, absolutely, I get that. So yeah, the basically what's happened is all the old lord and nobility have been stripped of their titles, or mostly they've been just killed because they died in battle, and their estates and lands have been divided up and given to important and honourable, righteous, godly folk like yourself.
Yeah, so, bloody idiots not just sending their soldiers to fight.
What was that, sorry?
I said bloody idiots not just sending their soldiers to fight.
So the lands next to you have been given over to another lord. I hadn't named him yet. I have been imagining this guy as a bit of we all watch Game of Thrones, yeah? You know, what's his name? Sam Tarly's dad. That really, steel face. Lord Tarly, yeah, that really...
Very stoic,
yeah.
Kind of good military commander.
Yeah, there's this good military... Maybe a little more hard, a little more vicious than him. He's got a very, a very much a military man with a rough reputation, has taken over the lands next to yours. And taking control of a sizable settlement there. So it would be his daughter that you've been having an affair with.
Okay, someone from my land or this land?
It would be from your homelands.
Okay, I'll change that.
If you want it to be a native daughter, just thinking, because like I said, all the old nobility have pretty much been...
I mean, you say that, but Josh bought a relationship like that. Wouldn't we would establish that maybe some of the nobility
that's what
still hold a certain position of power.
Yeah, I thought we were doing it the reason they haven't destroyed us yet was because they're all infighting each other or something.
Yes, but that's further.
Whatever.
Hey, I'll take you to the map, and then we can kind of. So.
If it makes it easier, I can do it like that.
I'd like to make it work with you here. So. You guys invaded.
I don't see them now.
You don't see them? Oh, I haven't taken you to that yet. That's why. There we
That's probably why, yeah.
I took myself to it.
Matt, you little tease.
I am just a tease. So, everyone on the map now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. So if you zoom out a little bit, just to get a good overview, what happened was, and this will be a chance to give a bit of a lore dump. This up here is the imperial city. It was the center of this empire and its great power. And this map here is only like a relatively small chunk of the empire. It's kind of the empire you know as the invading people. It was the home of the empire. It was very secure. There were mountains on one. There's mountains on one side, a vast, deep forest on the other, and the sea to the back. So it was only really invadable from one direction, which had this huge river going across it that nobody could pass. So it's from here the empire has been safe and secure for many years. The emperor lived there. All the genteel classes live in there. It was very much a secure city of the nobility. It was like the Forbidden City in China in many ways. You know, you had to be very powerful to be allowed on this small island. When you went upon your important crusade to remove this false emperor because he was an affront to the Holy Conclave, you came through the sea, which they never expected to happen, because in their own country, with their own enemies, there was never any large naval force. So you fought your way up this large river, large armada, destroying the towers that guarded the gate, having to fight their way. And Tim, this city here will probably be where you're the butcher of.
I literally was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, because that city was...
It looks like a great place to have a cool battle.
Yeah, that city's entire purpose was, if all like the super rich and stuff lived way up here and were kept very like secure, this city was like where the actual work got done and where they kept their military. So you had to fight your way through there before you could get to the imperial city, and it was a bloody conflict.
Yeah, that's like a big battle that happened. Well, like mostly were fairly unopposed, but like there was one.
There was a big battle in the central city as well. That was kind of a problem. It was actually a much bloodier start to the campaign than you had hoped for. So, effectively, you've taken everything on this side of the river. Beyond the river is where the rest of the empire exists, and have fallen into chaos and infighting. And they've carved up the surrounding territories that are mostly untouched by the battle because it happened so quickly, and given them over to different lords who did well. So you can see there's kind of these little grey lines. They're the borders of different little new fiefdoms and kingdoms. So the manor that you're being given, Samuel, obviously they've not just built a new manor for you, because this battle has only actually happened a few months ago. The person who used to run this village that you're going to, the village, well actually it's more of a small town. The town is called Yantu, which you understand in this strange tongue means, oh no, sorry, that's the name of the land. Your province is called Yantu, which means land of the protectors. The little village is called, what was the little village called? I had a name for it.
Good fucking job they did protecting it.
Yeah.
City called Durex.
It's called Guoshan, which means Guardians of Stone and Water. They tend to name things a bit strangely. And it's up here. Now, you've been given the estate of effectively the man who used to run it, who died in the battle at the Imperial City. However, he might have a daughter who still lives there. Or perhaps his daughter was in the Imperial City after the sacking, and you've been carrying on a romance with her for the last few months.
Sounds good.
Okay. Are you bringing her with you back to her home, and how well known is this romance? Because it would definitely be forbidden.
I think it would be like, I would have her as like my serving wench, but like really she's like my lover.
Yeah.
So like I keep it from like everyone.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's a case of like her father died, her brothers died in this epic battle at the Forbidden City, and
I totally killed her brother.
Probably, and you, benevolent that you are, allowed her to stay within your retinue, and you would take her home so that she could live out her life in her family home. No longer as an important lord, but with her people as a figurehead. You just also happen to be bagging her.
Yeah, it's the tough trials I have to take in order to serve my people.
She's also 12.
Here's what I imagine. Here's what I imagined happened in the city. So like I fucking cut down her brother, and she just like goes over to me, like tries to stab me with a knife, like all angry and shit, but she doesn't even pierce my armor. And just like take her, like basically toss her over to Lord Addleston.
Yeah.
Like because I imagine because you were like in the battles, right? Or at least around the battle.
I was like the quartermaster there.
Yeah, so I probably kept close to you because I have military command, but you're still my liege, so I still have an obligation to protect you. So I think I just like push over to you and be like,
interesting. So this is this girl. We should give her a name, I think, as well. Do you have a name in mind for her?
Queelin.
Queelin. Do you know how you'd spell that? Yeah. Oh, there we go. So Queelin.
Nice, Adam.
Oh no, I was about to copy paste that into my names document.
It's official. I mean,
I don't know if just because you got there first makes it official. There we go, Queelin. Cool. I'm kind of imagining she's a bit fiery. Like
Butch?
she not butch, but like she tried to stab a man who's like 6'3" in a full armor.
She was angry, crying, and her brother was in pieces.
Yeah, but I'm getting that she's quite willful. Actually, maybe that's why you're actually. So well, it's up to you. Are you picturing kind of she's a demure, like blushing flower kind of type? Does she hate your guts, but is doing this to control you, or is this like?
She's definitely like willful. Like the thing I have is that it's romantic, forbidden, and hateful. So because I wanted drama. So.
Yeah, nice.
I think it's hate fucking. It's she just glares at you most of the day, and then like calls you names, calls you a dick, and then for some reason always ends up in your bedchamber later that night, and then steals your pillowcase before she leaves or something. I don't know, just like fuck you.
These satin sheets are better than the straw you sleep on, aren't they?
Dearie me. Cool. So do you want to write a belief about this character, like Quailin? You only if you only want to make like one belief for now and then fill out more as you go. That's fine because they can change and go. Oh, you've actually been doing a few.
Yeah, I believe got two. I'll probably just do one more about her.
Excellent. Let's see. I believe these native people should love serving the true Lord. I will command respect if that means by fear or love. So you want to. This is you saying you want to get the respect of the people.
Yeah, they need to respect me if that means by fear or by love. I don't mind as long as they do so. And then the second one is I believe those of highborn are above those of lower. Let no one who is lowborn rise higher.
Okay.
So I believe the stations at which they're born in, they should stay in their stations.
Cool. That's kind of a passive one for now. You could also change that to I will take someone and maybe take somebody who was lowborn and got themselves higher and try and put them into a lower position again, or make them put them back down in their place. You could get persona easier from that, or you just keep it that way and you'll get fate from it every time. You kind of just go no, back to the gutter with you.
Yeah, or if someone does I was a lowborn and I did good in the war. If I did actively try to make him lower again, I suppose.
Yeah, That's kind of closer to an instinct right now. Instincts are kind of like things you do. Instincts are things you do whenever something happens. They're kind of like when they're sort of statements of like they're kind of like macros for your character. I always carry a knife on me would be an instinct. But another one you could have is whenever a lowborn tries to rise himself, put him down. And then
probably do that.
And that would be a really good one to get you in trouble as well, because if there's like some big tough lowborn who's like, yeah, I did great in that battle, you're like, no, you're nothing, fuck off, and he punches you and causes conflict, you'll get fate, because whenever your instincts cause conflict, you gain a fate point. Yeah. Cool. So we'll leave you to have a look over your beliefs and think about sort of what your character wants and...
Just for simplicity's sake, I assume that like what's up on the map is the north and like right is the east, comes the south.
Actually, it's not. I know that's being annoying, but I have a picture of my head in the world, and I haven't drawn the map out yet. North would be to our right. So, north, south, east, west.
Okay.
And I know it's annoying, but it's because that direction kind of eventually turns into a desert plain, and that direction it starts to get colder. I know, I'm a bastard.
Cool.
Cool. So yeah, that's Samuel. You're our soon-to-be king, or not king? Well, maybe.
Yes, I am. Yes.
I mean, you'll always be lower than the living saints, but you can be the highest among the dirt beneath them. Speaking of dirt, Adam, tell us about No Man, because out of everyone here, you're the only native to this land.
Yeah, and I wrote a nice long backstory and then had to dig it up again. Yeah, I just I was born a slave, and I went from slaving to I don't remember what else. What are my life steps? Surely I'm able to look those up somewhere easily. Yes, I went into field labour. And then when I got to 18, I was taken prisoner by one of the local lords and trained to be a foot soldier. And now that the lands have kind of been taken over and there's, trouble about, they decided to gift a lot of slaves to the newly arriving masters. And my master, Master Sleep Pangs, he basically bribed the new arrival people to attack other, natives instead of his lands. So they got gifted a load of slaves.
Cool.
And I'm one of them.
Were you like I said, the kind of battle happened. It was quite a short and sharp crusade. Was it a case of, because there have been people from your kingdoms in the lands for a little while, like they kind of came across in drips and drabs and scouted around and sent missionaries. Was it a case they sent like a missionary to talk to this guy and bought a bunch of slaves in advance of the war in preparation? Or was it like the invasion happened and the huge army was like outside this guy's thing and he was like, here, have some slaves, please don't kill me?
Oh, no. It's my master is far too smart for that sort of thing. When it was drips and drabs, he would just clear them out. There's no problem, just drips and drabs. As soon as a big army arrives, he's sort of like, oh, geez, you guys go into the battle first. I'm just getting everything ready, and waited to see who was winning. When it looked like the natives were losing and were going to be overthrown, that's when he decided to kind of switch sides, but
right.
Sneakily.
So your master is probably from somewhere within this map, then.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Probably, he would have seen. He probably would have sent the. What are you muttering about?
Why is my? I'm okay. My mic should be turned off. Test. Wow, why does my microphone not turn off? That's really weird.
That is
I was trying to pronounce Chinese names.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Specifically, what Toulon? Yeah. I think it might be.
Don't do what I did and try and like seriously make up a Chinese name and then realise I basically just made up the word sleeping. one little difference.
Do I sound different?
I'm not sure.
Different how? Slightly more effeminate, if you ask me, but.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was going to make a joke about us killing him while he was sleeping, but you know.
I'm sorry, man, I ruined it.
Figured it was too cheap.
Matt, cut the recording. We'll wind it back.
Fuck that noise. So, Adam, during the battle kind of went like this. This is how the campaign went. The boats came up. They raided this town and this town on their way past, but they kind of just blew past them.
Yeah.
These keeps are in position here to catapult ships coming up. So there was a pretty terrible naval battle up here. And the keeps were destroyed partially by faith. Like, powerful priests brought one of the keeps down and the other one was taken in a pretty unpleasant, like, assault. And then eventually, they went up the river and attacked Minglanyu. God, this is gonna be a problem. The city up here.
There's no iron there.
I know, but you know what happens when I try and read words and then say them.
I'm more offended by the colour of the word. Can you make them slightly easier to read on the map background? Oh, somebody stabbed that bastard.
Oh, that's better.
No, what's wrong with black?
What's wrong with...
I feel like black is worse.
The yellow was actually okay, but that's alright.
I feel like yellow is probably...
Yeah, I can read that one alright. But yeah, and then they kind of devastate this. So at what stage do you think your master went, this is the time to hand over? Well, because if he was from here, he saw the towers crumble, and that's when he went, here, sent some slaves. Or he might be from somewhere deeper inland, and it was when the city was falling that he handed you over.
That's more what I was thinking, because this is the main city here, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think of it as more like he's over here, and all these other cities are like, oh, geez, we need to reinforce the main city, we need to repel these invaders, and he was like, oh, okay, we're on our way, we've got lost, and no, we're nearly there, and then, waiting to see what happened, and then when it finally did happen, sort of called the new invaders to his city under a flag of peace, or whatever the fuck he do, and then was like, oh, here you go, here's the load. I mean, I had spent time to write my little story. He was like, here are all these slaves, they're yours to take. Obviously you can travel through our land freely to go north and invade, but we're secretly your allies, and if anyone asks, we won't tell them what you're up to.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, if he was from up here, he would have been pretty far away from the actual invasion. So he'd have actually sent a force.
Maybe one of the lower ones.
Yeah, he could maybe be from here or here, and if that was the case, he'd be within like the path of the army almost, because this land was pretty heavy in the fighting. The areas around here were pretty heavy in the fighting. Or he might, yeah.
I had it in my mind like he basically just bought his way to not losing his land and being slaughtered.
Well, what I was thinking maybe he did was when you guys invaded the Imperial City, he just sent an army, like he originally sending to enforce the Imperial City, and then when they got there, instead you were ordered to start attacking your countrymen. And
we would have done that with slaves. We do as we're told.
Yeah. So perhaps it's a case of like you weren't in the army's main path, but there was an emissary already there who he sold it to and connived with, sort of behind the scenes.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so do you want to say it was that one there then?
Yeah, it could be that one there. Yeah, because if he was there, he was within the main path of the army. So there would be like, he would have had a chance to be like, no, this is a bad idea.
Oh, there's so many more of them.
That's a lot of boats. So it was probably during the attack on on the main city up here. How do you...
Tianyu.
Mutanyu.
Is the
Mutanyu?
correct pronunciation.
Mutanyu.
Tianyu.
Mutanyu. Okay.
I feel like the name works better if they got the taste, so it's Mu Yan Yu.
Mutanyu.
I mean, Mutianyu is like an actual place in China, so...
Oh, so you butchered an actual place in China. Well done.
Yeah.
So yeah, during the siege of Mutanyu, when like, you know, small raiding parties and stuff were going around and emissaries being sent to these other villages, your master went, hey, look at these lovely slaves you can use as cannon fodder. Take them, and, you know, with my blessing, oh great foreign devils.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
okay.
much.
So your master was from, we'll say, this wee town over here. Is he the lord of the town, or is he just like, does he just have like a slave farm outside the town?
No, lord of the town.
All right, so he's actually pretty important.
Oh yeah.
And what was his name again? It's Sly Pang?
Yeah.
Cool.
Slapang, sleepang.
Not Slip Pang. That's a.
You're not from around here. You pronounce how you want. Is it all good?
I hope that's not the voice.
Oh no!
And then that's my character's accent for the entire game. No.
No. So tell me a little bit about No Man now. So what happened to No Man during this crusade, and how did he end up alongside Gregory and Samuel? Like, I'm curious.
Well, he was gifted to them with all the other slaves, and he showed the most potential out of all the slaves for basically beating things up and being violent and being very loyal. And that was kind of, it's a good thing to have, you know, violence and loyalty. So he was kind of like, okay, we'll have him as maybe leading the slaves or whatever. I don't really speak to them much. He seems to understand our language. We'll use him.
I feel like he might have been like, because during character creation, I got the feeling you're more like Gregory's slave than Samuel's probably your Samuel's slave, but Gregory's the one who deals with you. I always get the feeling like
he's probably Samuel's slave and he's my soldier, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm the captain. Like, he's of course Samuel's soldier, but like
Samuel doesn't.
I'm in
deal with
direct
him.
command of him.
Yeah.
Samuel doesn't give a shit about most of the soldiers.
Because the rest
right
of
now, right?
the rest of the slaves
Gregory is
aren't.
my master, but Samuel's my owner.
Yeah. The rest of the slaves aren't like with you. You don't just have a slave battalion. So I think it might be a case of you were fighting alongside these slaves and you noticed No Man was useful. Like when you bitch slapped Samuel's lover, it was No Man who picked her up off the ground. You know, he was the most useful. So you went, I'll take that one and keep him. You know. Because I like.
You can always just say the rest of the slaves are fucking dead.
They also, I think, were decimated. Like, because it wasn't a good battle. It wasn't like the heroic, glorious charge that you guys wanted. It was a slog. So the slaves would have been mostly killed off. And the few survivors probably got like, yeah, we'll take that one sort of situation.
What? I think that's a good way of making Sleepang look a little bit more like, oh, geez, we might as well, you know, sign up with this guy because, geez, we could have lost like 5,000 men, but instead we lost 5,000 slaves and 20 men. You know, it was still a bloodbath, but thankfully not how
We
blood.
lost 20 men and 2,000 no men.
Oh.
All right. So I know you've got some beliefs, I think, for No Man.
Yeah, they're the ones I ran through with you before that you weren't overly happy with, but I don't think we ever sorted it out, so I've had to stick with it.
Let's see if we can sort it out now. So we got only Sly Pang cares for No Man. Sly Pang is always with me, guiding my actions. I hear him and see him. He's your invisible friend.
Yes.
The only thing there is I don't know how you could get any fate or persona for that belief. There needs to be kind of an actionable part. So I don't know. Does Sly Pang like something? Is there like a gift you can find for your friend?
Here's the question: like, man, you could play Sly Pang like an NPC, right?
I intend to, yeah, but
That's kind of what I imagined for my invisible friend. I don't think it's quite fair if I'm like, my invisible friend tells me to eat this berry. I eat the berry. I give myself 8 points. You know?
Yeah, no. I intend to play Sly Pang. I'm quite looking forward to figuring that one out. I'm just wondering if there's something here we can make more actionable for it. Does Sly Pang like something? Is there something no man could steal or do for Sly Pang to appease your master?
As I said, the only thing, because Sly Pang giving a bunch of slaves to these foreigners as well is sort of so that if they do turn on him or any violence towards him, then he's basically got soldiers amongst their soldiers that will turn on them. He's not really there to be like, oh geez, I really like that guy's hat. But I don't know, maybe do the foreigners have better weaponry? Oh wait, this is supposed to be China, isn't it? So
no, the foreigners do have a much better weaponry. The invaders came with steel armor, which was thick that you couldn't pierce, and fine swords and cavalry, and yeah, it was surprising. It could be that you could also maybe be like, I will find some secret information for Sly Pang.
Oh yeah, secret to their weaponry maybe.
Yeah, you could even try and find like some blacksmithing knowledge, or like where all this, because it's partially a case of they have so much more metal than you. Maybe find out how they have so much more. Like obviously we know as players it's because where they come from they just mine more. Like mining maybe isn't really a thing here. No one ever thought to dig out all this steel in the same way. But even if you could find like some information about that and send it home.
What do you mean you take it from the earth? You just kind of went up on mountains and helped find a bit of iron ore.
We were robbing goats.
The new master must be obeyed. Sly Pang wishes it.
I do as people tell me.
Yeah, the new master must be obeyed. I will find a way to impress him might be a good one.
That's a good one, yeah.
Like a chance to sort of show I will deliberately set out to get myself in his good graces.
Okay, then I'll update that.
Because that just gives you something to like work towards.
Also, keep in mind if you want to game the system, like not necessarily game the system, but like look that you try not to make any of your traits and beliefs do the same thing. So if you want to have a belief for fate farming, and you want to trade for fate, or like, you want to fate farm through trade traits, like if you have for example a trait that is like invisible friend, and you have a belief that says I do what my invisible friend tells me to, it might be redundant. Because like unless you really want to farm persona from it, but if you just do something your invisible friends tells you, you'll get fate from your from a trait, right? Like you don't need to have a belief for that.
Yeah, that's why I was sort of suggesting trying to find something for him, because then that's a belief on top of your trait. You'll get lots for it.
See, I'm not used to the rules, and
that's why we're doing this.
Yeah, totally. That's why.
It takes a bit of getting used to it. You know, stuff like fate farm and stuff right now, like the.
And I mean, you can change beliefs at any point. You can at any point be like, I delete this, I make a new one, so it doesn't matter that much.
I don't believe in my invisible friend anymore.
Let's see, where I can, I must bend the new master to Sly Pang's will, gain the trust. That's a good one. That's about gaining trust. So if you work towards gaining Gregory's trust, you'll get fate. If Gregory ever goes, Sly Pang's my boy, you could get a persona for it,
What the fuck is a Sly Pang?
No, Sly Pang.
No, wandering all over the place, master.
It's because he's very drunk all the time. They're medieval people.
What the fuck is a Sly Pang?
Cool. So yeah, that took a wee while. So I think it's time we can get into it now. I'm just going to make a wee break in my recording. Does anybody want to go to the bathroom or anything? Now would be the time to do it.
Also, I don't know if it changed anything, but I was looking through all of the things that I picked when we were doing resources and stuff, and I did pick Lord Regional. I don't know if that changed anything.
That's a reputation, yeah?
Yeah.
So what that means is when you make a circles test, which is a way of like tracking down NPCs or creating an NPC, you can be like, I want to know and be able to find the magistrate of this area, or I need to find a useful mercenary. You can add a dice from that because you are the lord of that area. It also means if you come back and you need to find to the main city, and you need to find nobles and stuff, you can use that reputation because you are known as an important lord.
Cool, yes.
So,
Just Tim, Matt, whatever. For my, should I change my invisible friend belief then? And thinking maybe you have it seen as I helped up what's his face's girlfriend from the dirt and all that. Maybe have it like women are akin to gods and must be protected above everyone else. Basically, just like even if the masters say shit, go and
that would be a good belief actually.
Go and hurt that woman.
Just having like I am a robot who follows commands. Is one thing, but having like then a conflicting beliefs is great because that creates drama.
There's actually a thing in the book called Mold Breaker, where if two of your beliefs or a trait and a belief conflict with each other, and you like play that out in character properly, you can get persona for it, and it's also always a cool thing to do.
Yeah. So yeah, I would. That's a great belief. I think that's a great idea.